We are here and we are live. And no, you take care of you.
I'm just going to turn
As
my camera off really quick, okay?
no worries, I'd love to welcome you today to Impossible Live. And Karan is doing what we all need to do, whether you're joining us live or for replays. Pause for a second, take a breath, do a check in, cover something that you need, and reach out and just take great care of yourself. And in that process, I am delighted and excited to reintroduce you to the amazing Karon. Hey, Leslie. How you doing? Hey. Leslie's in the house. And Leslie, oh my gosh. Thank you all. Yes, Mel with braids is here and Karan with major braids. But we want to really thank you for stopping in to say hi and to checking us out for a few minutes. You could be anywhere today, and you are here today with us, and we appreciate that. What you're going to love is Karan is a past and prior Impossible Live guest, and she is back because during our first live, Karan reminded us of that hustle, that juggle between I'm working full time and I'm working on my business. And that balancing act is one of the gems she brings to every service oriented conversation. She's a data girl. She's an intelligent, beautiful, vibrant woman. And without further ado, I'm going to shush for a little bit, let you check her out in the spotlight so she can introduce herself. And then we're going to dig into today's topic. But let us know who you are, whether you're joining us live or replay, and a way we can help you in between lives. And thank you so much for joining us today at
Good
Impossible Live.
afternoon. Hey, Mel. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come before your community once again. Yes, my name is Karon Fayerweather. I am your women's empowerment speaker and coach. I use my practice of affirmations to help women figure things out, men too, but mostly women. However, today I'm here to speak on another passion of mine, and that is customer service. Being a not practicing facilitator, I was told I'm always going to be a facilitator, and I received that. I'm not practicing that craft right now, but being a former customer service facilitator, I understand the importance of great customer service in every capacity, as the giver and as the receiver, because we're all providing customer service in one way or another, whether it's person to person on a personal level or in a retail, online, etc. So today I am here with Mel, and we're going to dig into this component about customer service being superior. Is it really? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Thank you, Mel, so much for the opportunity to introduce myself.
Thank you and welcome back. And hey, Marcia and Marcia, thanks for joining us live and welcome back. And Marcia, we're looking for your vibrant voice again today because Marcia says she'd love to be an Impossible Live guest. And I'd love to talk to you about that because I'm really enjoying your health series that you're running on LinkedIn and on other platforms. The timing just hasn't worked for me to join you. You're doing it late at night, and I'm dialing back with what I'm doing in the evening to do some deep dive. Hey, Cecilia, how you doing? Welcome. And hey, Erica, how's everybody doing? And Cecilia, happy Monday. And Erica, hello. One of the gems of today's topic is that Karon and I have been talking about not just the service part, not just what makes those experiences excellent, what makes those experiences memorable to the people we show up to while they're trying to solve problems, whether it's by using our products or our services, but the concept of how we're engaging, who we're engaging with, and the stories we tell ourselves in the process. Hey, Dee, how are you? Happy Monday. That in the process, those things, and Marcia is reminding us, customer service can be a priceless job. And she's got a LinkedIn audio. So check out Marcia Lee if you're on LinkedIn. If you're on Facebook, come hop over to LinkedIn sometime and we can cross shout it out. Check out D Hoke, whose birthday was this month, but from a service perspective, how we define what service is to us is really, really important. And the first time that Karan and I spoke, we spoke about was service excellent or superior. Today, our definitions of excellent, and for those of us who popped in when Susan G. Schwartz was here a couple of weeks ago, and Susan talked about excellence in terms of leadership, that we can't always sometimes hit that excellence. But as Karon reminds me, it's about showing up just to try to do our very best.
Absolutely.
So today, Karan is welcoming Mel with Braids
I am.
to our superior conversation as we're showing reflections. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Lorene, hey, y'all are popping in not just as amazing entrepreneurs during Dee's birthday month, but during National Black Business Month. We appreciate you and your support. So Leslie says it well as we're toasting, and I am so the virtual toast girl. Leslie says showing is 90% of it. Leslie, you got to tell us more about that and pop in on the live. So when Leslie says showing is 90% of it, what's the other 10% of service if we're fitting into Leslie's formula, Karon?
Oh, great question. And thank you for that, Leslie, because she's absolutely right. Showing is 90% up, showing up. Because if there's no one present, if there isn't a process present, someone can be there to deliver that service, but they're not familiar with what it is to deliver, how to deliver, when to deliver. So the other 10% is that interaction from the person. They show up and they actually interact with the process, with the customer, for the retailer, what have you. So that would be my answer to the 10% would be the knowing the process, what to do, how to do it, and if should it be done. Because not every process applies to every situation, right? Having that flexibility of knowledge to say, yeah, just a little bit of this applies to this scenario. So I'm going to be a little creative here to be in resolution mindset to resolve whatever this issue may be with my excellent versus superior customer service delivery, Mel.
I I absolutely love that. And Leslie, thank you for helping us kind of keep a really specific focus in the process. You're reminding me as we were preparing today and navigating tech and how things look on the back end and the exquisite new graphics from exquisite Eve Voyaveda, as I call her, of Brand Your Dream and Visibility Gym. And thank you, Eve, with a shout out. Is that when Leslie says showing up is 90% of it, what that presentation looks like. We spend so much time, and I love this from the perspective of helping people with events and elevating event impacts. We spend so much time on the display, the apparel, the hair, the appearance, the training of what messages will deliver, the selecting what the frame is for an event. And whether you're an attendee, a host, a sponsor, a presenter, a volunteer, a stakeholder, or just somebody walking by to check out new solutions as our guest. That show has so many different elements of it. But I love that we're talking about the 10% part because that's the part nobody sees the prep for.
Exactly.
Talking to Karon today, the decision as an entrepreneur, eating lunch before live started, the decision of whether to put on lipstick or not,
Right.
The lips, the how we show up. What are the definitions today? Clarine will be proud of me because today Mel with Grace remembered to attach her webcam. So the tools that we have in our hand as we're showing up, as we're reaching out, as we're trying to share messages, we concentrate so much on the stuff. And Karan has some amazing stats on outreach, what people remember when we share a message.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody today gave me what I will call feed forward, what they took as feedback. They took it as feedback because they're speaking of the past Mel. Today, Mel with braids showed up and rushing from one event to another. I had a curler in my hair showing up for a Zoom. It's such a reminder. And I said to the person, "You're really seeing the other side of show up," because I rushed and I'm apologizing for being a minute late because I don't usually put my audio or virtual meetings on top of each other. But I was concerned about how I showed up, and the person at the end gave me some feedback about what would elevate my impact from superior to excellent. They weren't sure when they delivered it of what I was going to do with it, but message loud and clear, and received Larry Call, who in his presentation of truth delivered some truths to me. I'm glad I had spent some fabulous morning with my accountability partner, and I am grateful for you and your voice, but it's a reminder, the showing up part, we concentrate so much on that. Today, Larry told me he doesn't show up as a coach. To me, he appeared to be a coach. So I appreciate how he shows up is not what I see. And that part of the reflections part about personal lies, customer service, personalized self service, because Karan's here on a week that the universe was reminding me I better serve Mel, or there's no Mel to
That's
serve
right.
anybody else. I've been
Absolutely.
listening to the message in Mosaic Nation of Core Elevators, Leslie and Shirley. I'm listening. I'm listening. Clarine Brown, I'm listening. I'm listening. The brand misfit. But as Karan is talking about service, tell us any sort of gems. Take us any place you want to go to Karan's service church, so to speak, so that people can get your gems and your insights, and also tell us about your new book.
I will. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Mel. And everything you said, I echo and amen completely, 100%. I want to first, though, go over to the comment that Clarine made. There is so much that goes on behind the scenes that others have no clue about, but all the efforts are necessary. And I just want to, like, yes, absolutely. But you know what? They shouldn't know. That's when we know our process is working, because they don't know the behind the scenes. They're taking for granted that all this is so easy, and that's exactly how it should present. Because then we have vetted out the process, we've tested the process, we've made changes where necessary, so it can seem to be just like that, seamless. So thank you so much for your comment about that. I appreciate it, because it is absolutely true. It is worth the effort when your customer who comes to receive your services, they say, "Oh my gosh, you make this look so easy." Exactly. Well done for those that have mastered that already. So Mel made reference earlier to some stats I gave the last time I came, and I'm not going to be able to quote them exactly, but I'm going to give you a version of it that will give you the visual for what I'm about to speak to. So when it comes to customer service interaction, person to person, there's three components to that customer service interaction. You have your verbal, you have your body language, and you have your facial expression and your tonality to go along with it, right? So when a person is in front of you, and let's say you're the one delivering the service, or you're the one there to serve them in a customer service capacity because of something, a product they got from a retailer, let's say that. So you're explaining to this person, let's say the person is pretty heated and you're trying to give them all the necessary information while respecting their complaint. What do I mean? By giving an ear to what it is they have to say and appropriately giving them feedback. Now, everything that you're saying, let me just give you some stats of what's being received. The bulk of what you say boils down to about 15%. The bulk of what you say boils down to about 15% is being received by that person who's in front of you. Your facial expression, somewhere around 40%, let's say. The rest of it, you can guess. You've guessed it right. It's the body language that you're paying attention to. How are you standing? Are your arms folded in front of you? Are you standing in a defensive mode? Are you standing in an open mode where your arms are not all over the place? You're open to helping them. That's what they're paying attention to, along with some of your tonality. So when we have our customer service experiences face to face, that's what the numbers could look like. I think I got close to the actual stats. Let's move to over the phone or virtual. You can imagine when you're on the phone, they have your voice and they have your tonality, the words that you use. Trust and believe they're paying more attention to your tonality than they are the words that you're using, which is crazy. I'm explaining to you, but yet you're paying more attention, which most of us do. If we're honest, we're paying attention to the tone. Oh, no, she didn't say it like that. Wait, what's going on with her? What's wrong with her tone? Never mind, I've given you the exact information you need, point for point for point, but my tone is what you're paying attention to. I'll talk to someone else before I let you talk to me that way. Never mind that I've given you the right information, but because my tone is off-putting, you'd rather interact with somebody else, right? Well, I don't care what you say. I don't care. I'll go to somebody else. Listen, I'm guilty. I will hang up on someone in a minute if their tone is not right, because I'm thinking, hey, I'm giving my money to you, right? Which is right. So I deserve that kind of TLC, if you will, from you, because you're providing me with the service that I am paying for. Let's switch over to virtual for a second, the email communication. Of course, they're paying attention to your words only, but are we paying attention as the sender of that email to that customer, the tone of our emails? I tell people often, before you send an email, do not put a name in the sender field. Don't do it. Don't put a name in the sender field. Go ahead, blast it out, that email, and then go back and critique it. And once you've got it sounding and feeling the way that you intend to, wait a minute now, let me say that differently, that it should feel, because sometimes we do want to offend, but we know that's not the thing to do to retain the customer, right? So once you've gotten that email to feel the way it should, so you can address the issue and attempt to retain that customer, then we're ready. So just a little background of some of the points I covered on the last time that I was here, and I'm grateful to come back. So Mel asked me this question, very curious question I did some research on, and she said, Karon, is self-service superior? I'm thinking, if you do it right, yes, it is. But then I had to go back and think about self-service. What is self-service? So we know a lot of our retailers have gone to the kiosk, right? Where you can go and do things yourself. Some of us, we're ready for that. But are all of us ready for that? What say you guys? What do you think? Would you say 100% of a customer base is ready for that automated self-service process? Give me your feedback on that, please, anybody. What do you think about that? Would you say 100% of the customers that go to a retailer, I won't say a name, is ready for that self-service interaction where they have no human interaction? They go to the register and they do it all themselves. Well, Mel, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think 100% of the customers are?
You're going to laugh. I'm putting in the post. Leslie saying she likes to deal with a person.
Yes. Okay. Yes. And I see your answer. 25% of the customers are ready. Listen, I agree 100% because we've been conditioned, if you will, and I'm going to read your comment in just a second, Marcia. Thank you for your engagement, everybody. We've been conditioned to have someone to be at the register to wait on us, right? Not until the last, I'll say 5 to 7 years, have we had these kiosks available. So most of us have been spending money for 20 plus years of our lives, right? We've been earning and spending. We go to the retailers, we get to the register, put the stuff on the belt, they take care of us, and out the door we go. But over the last 5 to 7 years, maybe a little more since the COVID, I have to pull COVID out of that because COVID didn't allow us to go anywhere. It was all online. But pulling that out, I think about 5 to 7 years, we've been doing the kiosk even more. And I've seen it myself, everyone, that people don't really care for the self-service. But why do you think that is? Let me read a couple of these comments in just a second here.
Lachelle answered your question that you just said. Lachelle says, I am ready if they give me a discount for doing the work that others get paid for.
I love it. I love it. Yes, yes, yes. And I have the same thought. But I have to say, Lachelle, it depends on how busy I am, how much of a rush I'm in. If I see the kiosk is available, but the register has more than 3 people ahead of me, I will go to the kiosk. However, though, how easy is it to use that kiosk? I pretty much got it in my head. If I go to this store, I'm going through the line. If I go to that store, I'm going to the register, to the kiosk, because it's so easy to use. So when you
I love what you said there, because Clarine just came from the grocery store and didn't appreciate having only self-service option.
Exactly.
And Marcia says, you still have to work with a person in self-checkout. And we learned something about that in the grocery store recently. Somebody went through self-checkout and decided to remove a lot of items from the store. So that was a store that no longer had a person in the self-checkout, but they obviously still had security. And this is a recent story. And Erica says she believes that good customer service cannot happen if one has not spent effort in developing their communication skills. So I love what you're saying, Karon, because I think, the pandemic kind of really changed how we receive service, what our willingness is sometimes. Sometimes we're not in the mood to interact. I went to the hairstylist last week. I'm so grateful for her for fresh braids. And in the process, I needed to pick up a supply for after I left her. And I'm in a new pre-owned car. Thank you again, universe. Grateful to have wheels and be able to get back out there to support family and go visit others. But I realized my timing, because of the traffic, I would not have been a good person to go in the store and engage in a store with heavy security that sometimes looks at others like you're about to remove something from the store, as opposed to, I have a question and I just need some help. The good news is the owner is really about closing sales. So there are an excess of people on the floor, but Clarine just said it also from a soul level. People have cameras and displays, and others don't appear to have cameras and displays. This person who tried to leave us some stuff after self-checkout, which really, from a service perspective, that store showed their initiatives may not be on having someone to assist you through the checkout, but they're prepared for the person, for shrinkage, and the person is removing the property. I remember years ago being in the garment industry, and Marcia, I appreciate your comments, because I'm telling you, the one thing I said in the garment industry was I could not work retail. I could not. I wasn't sure in my 20s that I had the temperament for it. Now we live near a big, can't even call it a super mall, and you see the different types of service. But where would you say, Karon, that how we show up, and I'm back to that 10% that Leslie helped us frame today's discussion with, and maybe we're going back to Marcia's comment.
Yes.
The verbal part, the communication part, And you said it before in terms of not a lot of our messages are necessarily retained.
Mm-hmm.
As someone spoke to me earlier, he's in settings where he's perhaps expecting that I show up with the elevator pitch. I help X do Y, so Z. That is not Mel. That's not differentiation. That means that I'm filling in the same blanks of the sentence that you and other industry leaders and coaches have supplied me. You've given me my script and you want to hear what I do,
Mm-hmm.
who I help, how I help them, and what the impact statement is
Mm-hmm.
in 20 words or less. I'll summarize it now by saying my hashtag is ignite trust. If it doesn't make sense to you, click on one of the links to book a call to explore, if you're a leader, how to build trust building toolkits for you and your team. But that pitch part of the formulas and what you and Marcia said about emails, my goodness, I accidentally sent an email with a blind carbon copy to my client instead of my collaborator. I received some less than positive feedback. They didn't feel as cherished. My language, speaking with somebody I had known for 8 years and a brand new client, was different. And especially a message that I'm sending at 1 o'clock in the morning. I love that Marcia's got somebody who has a colleague review some of her emails for the tone.
Yeah.
What do we do with the tone, Karon?
We have to be aware. It starts with awareness. It starts with awareness. Knowing that when we speak, automatically there is a tone. No matter whether you're in a happy mood or frustrated mood, sleepy or tired at 1 o'clock in the morning, who you're sending the email to. It could be a relaxed, I'm just going to let this flow because I know her. She will get this. So tone is always present in our delivery, whether it's face to face, over the phone, or email. Tone is always present. So having an awareness that tone is always present, because you've been there. You've read an email like, oh, wow, that was beautifully stated. Or was she really talking to me that way? Right? We've all been there. So that validates that even emails have a tone to them. So having an awareness that no matter your form of communication, person to person, over the phone or through electronic transmission, there is a tone. So having an awareness to that, you are more apt to check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? So when we are aware that there is a tone, I am more apt to slow down with my emails and check them before I send them. I don't put anyone in the send or blind copy anywhere until I've gotten that email formulated. When I am with a person face to face, I almost like I've been in retail and knowing that I have to go resolve a problem, I'm assessing me before I go to that problem. Sometimes the problem comes to you, and while they're talking, that's an opportunity for you to assess yourself. Know that it's not personal. Although they try to make it personal sometimes, it's not personal. So don't take it personally. A person has spent their money, their time. You don't know who they've spoken to before you. So many factors to consider when you are determining how your tone is going to be. Take responsibility. I think someone said earlier, it goes both ways. It absolutely does. I've seen so many memes, videos where people are saying the customer is always right. No, that's not true. It's not true. But how you manage the customer, you manage them in a way that you are seeking to get a resolution, not preferred resolution, but a resolution to the problem. In customer service, you can't always meet their expectation, but you can deliver it in such a manner that is respectful, although they're over talking you, right? In a way that it is factual and you know what you're talking about. You're knowledgeable. So no matter how they try to twist or turn it, you're still giving them what they can get in that situation. Because let me tell y'all, customers are rarely right. Let's be honest about things. They are really right, because they don't know what someone mentioned before. They don't know the background. They don't know the process. They don't know all the tools that are in place. So all they know is what they want. But even in that interaction, y'all, I have to say that we who are deliverers are in charge of our tone. We who are deliverers are in charge of our body language. And we are in charge of the words that we use. So hopefully I answered your question, Mel, because you know how passionate I get about this subject.
You rocked, Karon style, rocked it out of the park, because I so appreciate that about our conversations, and they're going to continue, because service, hospitality, there's such a different, challenging nut to crack in a fragile world, as I call it, because we have crystal ceilings, we have glass ceilings, we have concrete ceilings. One of my collaborators, who I adore, we're talking about bamboo ceilings. There are cultural ceilings that you cannot see. The thing that's hard is I can't even say Back to the Future, because that would be a joke, because I loved the movie and I loved Michael Fox in it. But previously, we were taught the customer is always right, the client is always right. I believe that as long as we both show up in an environment with mutual respect,
yes,
with care, with, as Erica says, with energy,
yes,
we need to manage the part that we are. Hey, TC, how are you?
hey, TC.
We need to manage the part that we are people. And TC, welcome to Impossible Live.
Yes,
That you, we need to manage the part that as humans,
absolutely.
there's a front channel, there's a back channel, there's internal channels. There's a book years ago that my first responder brought home after a seminar called Verbal Judo. Back then, the gentleman presenting who had written the book said there were at least three people on each side in each interaction. That doesn't account for our different cultural identities, our different voices, our different energy levels. It doesn't count for how we show up and what we brought to, in a retail situation, what we brought to that checkout line, whether there's somebody there handling our every need, whether there's somebody at a checkout line who's actually helping us process the transaction. Remember the old days in the grocery store, you'd go and someone would pack your bags. There are some stores where that still happens.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, I really appreciate what Marcia's saying. Marcia, you have to join us sometime to talk to us
Yeah.
about the function of the job, because the function of the job has different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
We, as clients, as customers, as people requesting or receiving a service, are we sometimes show up with the entitled attitude that it's our job to receive. The reminder, it's a multiple way street. It's an exchange. Whether you show up and you ask someone, how are you today? Whether somebody holds the door for you and you say good morning, whether somebody takes that shopping cart from you when you leave a grocery store or a resale situation, or you're just exchanging something you're touching. Maybe you're passing a security person a bag to check, to go through a security checkpoint. You have a choice of smiling. You have a choice of really being human, of really, as we're saying, being present. That, I think, is the challenge from the job. What is our job as a good human who's conscious that the person we're dealing with, seeing, has a bunch of other channels?
Mm-hmm. Mel, I'd love to chime in on Marcia's comment as well. Someone trying to tell you your job. Oh my gosh. You think like, wait, last I checked, I was the one in training. Last I checked, I was the one that showed up and clocked in this morning. Last I checked, you're asking me for help and you're going to tell me how to do my job. Woo, talk about a woosah, right? A total woosah. But let me offer this perspective as well. just as we come to the job with a lot of stuff, oftentimes our customers, and let me tell you, let me digress just a bit. In watching these videos, I've learned that there are so many angry people out there. So many angry people over stuff that has nothing to do with what's going on in the present. And they bring that to the interaction with you. So what's your point, Kāron, that energy, going back to the energy, when you are dealing with someone who has that tell you what your job is type of energy, I believe it's a choice at that point. Am I going to give them the same energy, or am I going to stay in my peace, let them rattle on? And I saw this video. The girl had a perfect ending to a rant. The customer was going on and on and on and on and on. She sat there quietly. Now, I'm not saying that you were right or wrong. I'm just offering a perspective. She sat there quietly. When the customer was done, or she was able to get a word in edgewise, let's say that, she said, ma'am, I've given you all that I can give you. If that is not good enough, I will have to ask you to leave the store and come back at another time. Quietly and calmly, she said that. And of course, the customer went off. But at that point, there was nothing more for the person who was interacting with her to do, because she'd given her every resolution she could give her. The most she could do then is just stand there and let the woman rant and rant and rant. And they kind of quieted the voice, and she walked away at some point, because the person who was trying to help her just wouldn't give in to that energy. She refused to give. She said, not today, Satan. That was a caption on the video. Not today, Satan, because that, to me, that boiled down to she made a choice that I'm not giving her my peace. I'm not. I'm going to stay right here. Either she's going to accept what I can offer her, because the customer is rarely right, but because we are there to serve them, we want to offer them the best solution we can. If they're not accepting of that solution, stay in your peace. Stay in your peace.
I wish you could see, and you'll see it later on the replay, the hearts that are going up, the support sign. And we appreciate you for just tuning in to join us for Kāron's Gems. And no worries, she's going to be back, because we talked about this personally. We're talking about self-service. We'll figure out what new way Kāron wants to talk about it. You know, I think the hardest part, and Marcia's chiming back in, she has stories for the next 2 or 3 years. So I'll make you a deal, Marcia. Reach out to Kāron, and we will find a time when the two of you, and actually I can think of the time. So
yeah,
you're gonna smile. I will. Marcia, come reach out on the back end, and you and Kāron and I will have a conversation about something, a summit I'm thinking about in 2024. We'll have a good chance to kind of, maybe we'll dive in and have like a service VIP day. We can be therapists for each other's. As Clarine saying it, as business owners, we have to guide our peace and our time. I think
we do.
The hard part is, and I appreciate this from the human design frame that amazing coaches have brought to me. And at TC's event, I had a chance to meet Erin. TC and Erin had this wonderful event on a LinkedIn audio on Saturday. And I met TC at a LinkedIn audio last week, a thought leadership branding club room on lives or audio or Zoom. And TC had some amazing gems. So I'm following her everywhere now. But they're talking about it through the lens next week of launch, or the lens of human design. And from the human design perspective, I learned that peace, not anger, is one of the central themes for me. So even if I worked for a screamer, and occasionally my wonderful feisty parents, who occasionally remind me they're out of the Jeffersons, and I love it because my parents are in their 80s and they're still enjoying the Jeffersons. We have a different voice that we can show up. We have what I call the choice of the voice, just as Erica mentioned it from an energy perspective, and Kāron mentions it from kind of our style of how we show up in a service relationship. As Leslie's reminding us that the 10% about showing up, maybe that has to do with the roles. Maybe it has to do with what people love to call mindset, which actually another word I'm allergic to. But I think we need to show up with respect. And whatever the situation is, however our voice is coming off, whether there's a lot of emotions below the surface that we're not wearing a sign, hey, it's not a good emotions day. Or as Dee helped me, I love it. And Dee says, I showed up to talk to Dee one day before her podcast, and Dee, we were having one of those, as Dee called it, we were in the fields. You can't always share that with everyone, with a
Mhm.
coworker, with a potential client, with somebody you're trying to serve, with somebody you live with. And I think that's the part that Karen's reminding us from, which Karen, that takes us into Affirmation Central. Let's end with your bam jam. Do you have any of your books around that you could show us? I should have asked you that before.
I don't have a book, but I will. I'm going to put in our chat the link to my book. And what I would like to offer to everyone is I am an author, Amazon best-selling author at that, of a children's affirmation book. And although I'm here speaking about customer service, which is absolutely a passion of mine, there's no greater passion I have than I do for affirmations and what they can do in your life. As a women's empowerment coach, I am consistently offering ways for people to level up in their lives, to recover from traumas, etc. So I'm putting it in our chat, Melanie, and you can put it in the greater chat if you're able to. And there it is. So this book is a children's affirmation book that parents or adults can work with children to teach them about speaking well about themselves. We brought up the subject of energy, of teaching, of understanding what our energy is and how to self-correct our energies. I believe understanding who you are allows you to be able to do exactly that, to be able to self-correct, because I understand that this is a trigger for me. So because I know this is a trigger, I'm going to speak well about myself right now, no matter how much I can see that customer come in, or I know I have to return this person's email or their phone call, and I know how belligerent they can be. Because I know who I am, I'm able to course correct and place myself in a space, in an energy where I can interact with them well. And why not start out this type of thought process, if you will, with our children? So thank you, Melanie, for the opportunity to share that with everyone.
I love that too. And also thanks, because today we're broadcasting on two platforms. Another experiment. We're on LinkedIn, and we're in my Illuminations groups for talented entrepreneurs on Meta. And so, hey, Jay, thanks for popping in. And we know how busy, Jay of Mosaic Nation of Co-Elevators, how busy your schedule is. And Carla Sellers. Carla, thank you so much for popping up and for your support. Carla reminds me too of a poem that I mentioned to Kāron before that I have to dig up and repurpose. And Eve remind me, it's a poem called The Difference is Service. I used to share it as part of an ad I ran in program ads for a conference for a wonderful client, Hudson Valley SHRM Society of HR Management. And it was something I wrote a long time ago. And then one of my coaches is like, you need to share this. It's like the journaling stuff that I'm finally just getting to share. And thank you also for your and everyone's encouragement. We're talking about the choice of the voice. Karon's talking about it from a perspective of children to how we grow up, to Erica mentioning, my daughter, how my daughter shows up.
Yes,
I am leaving a legacy by inspiring them to reach higher.
exactly.
But in the process, it's reminding me those differences. We think they're differences. We think they're part of the divide or a great bridge or something. But Karan, I just have to thank you for rocking with us today
You're
with your
welcome.
incredible energy. I am also grateful because last time Karan's job called her away, and Karan has been with us. Woo. So thank you so much for joining us. We're going to put a link to her book in there. I have a graphic of it. I went clicking away to try and find it. The reminder, stay with Karan, with our live guests on LinkedIn, our live guests on Facebook, and for those of you joining us for replays. But regardless of where you're joining us from, how are you joining us? Whether you're catching a snip, a bit, a short, a reel, an audiogram, or you're popping in for the full live, please Share this with somebody you think that it might be of value with, because Karon's gems can only help how we not just show up, but position ourselves.
Mhm.
Clarine talked about it from the perspective of business owners. Marcia's talking about it from the perspective of trying to serve others. And we really need the support. So help others avoid customer issues, communication issues,
Yes.
relationship issues,
Yes. Yes.
community issues, and security issues from those who are standing over us as we're walking around stores to see whether we want to buy a gift or whether we want to touch an item. But regardless, as you're present, as you're exploring, as you're showing up, thanks for taking your time to be with us today.
Absolutely.
And Karan, you want to check this lovely woman out besides her book. Karan, tell them about your affirmations room on Clubhouse in the mornings and maybe who's that's for
Oh,
the
absolutely.
people.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to share that. And I won't take long, everybody. Clubhouse, everyone. If you haven't heard of the app, go to your app store and download it. Join us. I have an affirmation room Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m., where we just come in and we speak well about ourselves. Mel has been able to come in a few times, and I'm always excited when I see new faces because I understand the power of speaking well about yourself, speaking well about your business, speaking well about your day. So if you want to get in on some of that energy, join me 6:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. Follow me on Clubhouse, and you'll know when I go live at 6:30 a.m., and then you can join the house. So I welcome anybody and everybody. Thank you, Mel.
Thank you. And that is Eastern
Yes.
for us. So not a morning girl or boys or whatever coast or zone you're joining us from. But we thank you so much. Stay cool, stay well, stay safe, stay inspired, and please stay in touch and have a magnificent day. Take great care.
Bye, everybody.